use of electronic funds transfer in PartsWatch, which is used for credit card, debit card, and gift card payment processing. PartsWatch, we used an interface called ChargeItPro through an organization called ChargeItPro, who is an industry leader in credit card payment processing. More information on ChargeItPro can be found on their website at www.chargeitpro.com. With ChargeItPro, we make use of a pin pad device called the PAX S300. It's a small compact device that's used to swipe cards, to read chip cards, allow dipping cards, and additionally capture signature. Setting up this device is extremely easy, and ChargeItPro offers a website and web page that includes a video that explains how to set this up. In PartsWatch, the client needs to first be prepared to communicate with ChargeItPro, and to do so, we use our device manager. So in the client, we need to go through PC Setup from the menu and select Setup PC Hardware. In my system that I'm demonstrating, I already have it set up, but I can go through the motions that explains how to add to this device to make use of electronic funds transfer. You simply click the Add button and begin the Add Hardware Wizard in PartsWatch. Click Next. Here I have to select the type of device, and this is a PartsWatch developed device interface. Clicking Next brings me to this panel where I select the type of device, which is EFT device, and then I have choices. I'm going to select the ChargeItPro Electronic Funds Transfer Interface. Simply confirm that I'm happy with this, and I click Finish. When done, this screen will redisplay and my added device will be on display. But I'm not finished. I need to configure the device. Configuring the device is simply select the device and click the Configure button. From the configuration panel, this is just status information about my ability to communicate with the device. I do need to click the Configuration tab and press the Setup button. Now when I press this, you're going to see we're going to jump outside of the PartsWatch application temporarily to set up ChargeItPro configuration. Now prior to this happening, I do have to have an account set up with ChargeItPro as a merchant. I have to have account credentials and things of that nature, and they'll provide me with information I need in order to proceed. So clicking that Setup button, I've now gone into the ChargeItPro configuration. And here is where I would normally enter my ID and a configuration key that's provided by ChargeItPro. Once I do that, I can enter this in and click Download Settings, and it'll automatically send to PartsWatch the typical default settings. To set things up further, once that's completed, I have these tabs here that I need to set up. This information should be provided naturally. If I need to change anything, the people at ChargeItPro would let me know that. I don't need to change anything on the Processor tab or the Gift Cards tab. The Advanced tab is where I have some flexibility. And the things that I can change here, I can tell the application, for instance, where certain prompts would display, whether they display or not from ChargeItPro. I can determine how results, things like progress, like whether I'm waiting for the user to swipe their card or what have you, and how I can enter data if I need to enter data manually. There's a plethora of options here, all of which I'm going to keep at the default, which most likely you will as well. The device does need to be set up. ChargeItPro offers support for a plethora of devices. We are making use of the PAX S300, which is the MT330S family. I select the S300 device here, and I can choose different options depending on what my business wants to make use of. The important thing for my purposes, my device is connected over the internet, so I will set this from COM to TCP and enter the IP address of the device. The video that we saw online earlier would show me how to get the IP address from the device. Once that's completed, I have nothing here in Sentinels. I would click the Save button. When I click the Save button, it simply is going to confirm a few things. I need to be patient. There's no indication right now that anything is happening, but right now something is happening, and this takes a little bit of time. So I wait a few moments. I'll get a couple of prompts indicating that things are looking good, communication is in place, and PartsWatch now has received all this information. None of this has changed in my case, but normally the apply button would light up. I'd click apply to save those changes, click OK, and PartsWatch is now ready to go. If any changes had been made, I would have been prompted to please stop and restart PartsWatch, in which case I would do that. Once the client terminal, the point-of-sale terminal is set up, I do need to set my store up to make use of electronic funds transfer. And that's done in Controls, Store, Tender Setup. For my particular store, I need to make sure that electronic funds transfer is enabled, at minimum for credit cards. So I have electronic funds transfer enabled for credit cards. For the use of ChargeItPro, it's very important that I set this setting to single. So what this does, it allows me to just say, use a generic credit card, and ChargeItPro will determine the credit card type. I don't need to select the credit card type like MasterCard, Visa, Discover on the tender screen. I do need to check all of the different credit card types that I make use of. In my particular case, I'm also going to support gift cards, so I want to make sure that the gift card electronic funds transfer checkbox is also checked. Once I'm satisfied with these settings, I can click the Update button if I've had to make any changes, and my store is now prepared to make use of electronic funds transfer. Now that that's complete, I'm actually ready to go. First thing that I might do is an invoice and charge an invoice on a credit card. So I'll start an invoice. Locating a particular customer and sell him a part. This customer wants to pay for this on credit card. Here I am in the tender screen. You can see I have credit card icon. I click this icon by itself, it'll automatically fill in the full amount. It'll prompt me to make sure this is what I want to do. Now, as PartsWatch is preparing to communicate with ChargeItPro, the user interface is overlaid with the ChargeItPro interface. I have a pin pad on my desk here, and right now I am being prompted to tap, insert, or swipe my card. In production environment, we won't see the word test mode in large bold letters here, but you can see progress. The application is waiting for the consumer to swipe their card. I'm going to swipe my test credit card. And I am immediately prompted to sign. The nice feature in ChargeItPro with PartsWatch now is that we support signature capture. So I can sign on the pin pad. And the cashier will see what the signature looks like that's captured. I have the ability to just ignore the signature and move on and ask the consumer to sign the credit card slip. I can ask them to re-sign again if I don't like the way they signed it, or I can accept what they've done, which is what I'm going to do. Transaction is approved. Now, I have my PartsWatch set up so that all my printing is going to a PDF printer on this machine. Ordinarily, this prompt would not display. My transaction is approved. Here is my invoice being printed. My cash drawer needs to be closed. And I am complete. I can show you what a copy of the receipt that printed out. This is what the receipt looks like that I would hand to the consumer. And here is a copy of the receipt that I would keep from my store, which includes the customer's signature. Debit card processing is is similar, except the consumer is not prompted for a signature. Instead, they're prompted to enter a PIN. And gift card processing is also similar, except they're not prompted for a signature or a PIN. Just the gift card alone is all that's necessary. So the next thing that I'd like to demonstrate is the use of a token and collecting a token. With ChargeItPro, PartsWatch has the ability to store tokens so that a consumer does not need to be present with their credit card in order to charge a card. So I'll pull up my commercial account. This is only available in commercial accounts, and select credit cards. I have a couple on file. I'm going to just delete these so that they're no longer cluttering our display. And I click the Add button to create a new one. ChargeItPro is right now prompting on the PIN pad to swipe the card. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not prompting. It does not prompt because it's expecting the card not to be present. So I actually have to enter the card information in this screen. Once that's entered, it's masked so that no one can look over my shoulder. And I'll enter the full consumer's name. When I click process, it'll do some verification and validation. Now this is all test information, so I'm not sure that all of this would display exactly this way, but I'll tell it to go ahead and save. Now I see activity on the PIN pad, but it's not prompting. Now this prompt is an additional prompt that PartsWatch requires. It requires the first 6 characters, first 6 digits of the credit card number, and that information is not provided by ChargeItPro, so I do have to manually enter that myself. Now that that's complete, I have a token created on today's date that can be used to tender an invoice transaction on a credit card without the use of the credit card itself. And we'll demonstrate that quickly. I'll pay now. Here I am in the tender screen again. I'm going to charge $9.79 to my credit card. PartsWatch detects that there are credit cards saved on file, so I'll select the one that I created today. Select card on file. There's no activity on the PIN pad right now, and you can see ChargeItPro has already processed this for me. And this will be my invoice. My cash drawer needs to be closed. And this is what my receipt looks like. Now, not all of this will always be this way. This is a test environment, so some of this information is pretty blank or vanilla. We do print this line here because we know we didn't capture a signature, but signature capture is not necessarily required in this instance because a token was used in its place. Next thing I'd like to demonstrate is checking a gift card balance. Now this is new to PartsWatch. Gift card balances can be tested and checked for the convenience of the consumer. If they come in, they say, hey, can you tell me what the balance is on this auto parts gift card, please? I can enter the gift card maintenance screen. Now, if the gift card had a barcode, I could scan the gift card. If it doesn't, I can simply hit enter here, or I can enter the whole gift card number, or I can hit enter, which will allow the consumer to be prompted to swipe their card. You can't see it now, but I'm being prompted on my PIN pad to swipe the card, and I'll do that now. And my gift card has a balance of $31.55. I can tell that to consumer. And if they'd like a printed receipt, you can simply press a print button. And I can hand them their receipt. This is the receipt that I would hand them, and indicates that it is a gift card balance. Lets them know that they have, hopefully that would say $31.55. So the last thing that I would like to demonstrate for you today is reprinting tender receipts. PartsWatch has the ability to recall and reprint tender receipts in case the printer jammed or the consumer comes in and says, can you reprint a receipt for me, please? The reprint tender receipt screen is date specific, so I would need to know the date that the consumer processed their transaction. Here you can see my transactions that I've done today. I can pick another day, look at any credit card, debit card transactions, and if I have a whole screen full of them, I can filter them down to something that is more manageable, just my Visa transactions. I can preview them or print them. If I hit print, it'll print for the consumer. If I preview, I can simply display it right on my screen. And signature capture works just as well here. So it will print with the word reprint, but if the consumer did sign on the pin pad, we captured it, we can raster that and display that for them. So that concludes my demonstration for credit card processing, payment processing, and EFT processing in PartsWatch using the ChargeItPro interface.